Girl, I've literally just finished live streaming my very first gameplay session with Inzoi, and before going to bed I wanted to note down my immediate thoughts on these first 4 hours in the game. Obviously, feel free to sit back and let me keep you company by watching the entire live stream, honey. I'll link it right here. But if you can't go through 4 hours of silly jokes and drama, I get it. And that's why I wanted to sort out my immediate reaction. First of all, some important points on the pre-gameplay, which you can't see in the live stream, but I might have yapped about it over there as well. When I downloaded the game from Steam, once it was installed, it ran a pre-gameplay optimization and file organization, which didn't take longer than like 5 minutes. After that, it was ready to play. It didn't ask me to sign up on any Krafton platform nor additional information about myself. There was a quick terms and conditions panel, but I guess that's pretty normal in most games. I'm saying this because when you check the game's information on Steam, it does mention you might have to sign up on Krafton's platform, and with the initial installation, I didn't get any of that. It's possible you might have to do some logins to access the game's gallery called Canvas? I don't know. I haven't tried that yet, so I can't confirm it. Once the game launched, it had already defined the graphics and effects settings by itself. I didn't really mess with anything to, let's say, optimize the game, and it determined my computer could run it on medium settings, which honestly, according to the specs, I had previously deemed unlikely, especially while streaming. But little did I know, the game ran pretty smoothly on medium, even if I was also live streaming it. I'm positively surprised about that, and to be honest, I never felt like I would have changed the settings to a higher resolution, as the game looked pretty good to me, both in the character creator and live mode. The Inzoi creator is pretty cool, and you can definitely spend hours in there. I can't even imagine how long it will take me to create a family, as my first time playing I only made one Zoe, Lady Drama of course, or her evil stepsister, I don't know yet. Everything looks great and polished and very detailed, and my only feedback when it comes to the actual creator has to do with the hairstyle. I felt like there wasn't a huge choice of that, but I guess it's due to the game being in early access, since I remember their roadmap showing additions to clothes and hairstyles. I mean, many points have to do with the game being in early access, but I guess it's still fair to make a review considering some fans are wondering if it's worth purchasing Inzoi right now while it is still in early access. So yeah, I would have loved a couple more hairstyles and a little button to set an outfit for all occasions, although the little layers menu on the left really helps to quickly edit and change clothes and accessories, so that's a really minor thing. I do feel that the facial traits customization takes some time to get used to, as it's mainly made of clicking, dragging, and pulling the different elements of the face rather than picking from singular ones. Like, you can pick a pre-made face and edit every single point in it, but you can't, let's say, pick a nose from a list and then edit it. This is possible with the eyes though, so it might get some adjustment later on. Everything else in the physical aspects of the character creation was very fun and definitely met my expectations. The personality trait, however, might still need some work, because when you're creating a character, you get to pick one defining trait only, and although the circle all these traits are positioned in is very aesthetically pleasing, what each trait actually does is a little bit all over the place. Many traits have aspects in common, but you need to go through each one of them singularly to see what the keywords and values are. They are not really sorted by keywords they do have in common, but rather by what aspect they represent. Like, leader and authoritarian are paired together, but they do have keywords they share with other traits, like authority is a value that appears in many different traits, but you don't know until you read through them. I kind of wish we could have all these values and keywords in a list and then pick like 5 of them instead of having to choose one macro trait, you know? For the game mechanic, the result might be the same, but adding more than one trait when you're creating your character is way more rewarding than having to pick one. Contrary to that, I was very surprised and excited about the desired life choices, as they basically represent the lifetime aspiration of your Zoe. I felt there were many and that they were covering different approaches to aspiration and desires, so I definitely liked having 15 options to pick from. It's true that the desired life has a less important impact on your gameplay than the personality of your Zoe, and in fact, the desired life is optional and you don't have to pick it, but I liked having it there. I think it helps with the storytelling and the overall determination of who your Zoe will be. So yes, character creation still needs some love, but overall I enjoyed it. Now let's talk about the actual gameplay, especially because the gameplay was my real question mark. I mean, we got to experience some parts of the character creator with the demos the team released before the early access, but to me at least, the quality of the actual gameplay was still a question mark. So a very important point is that the concept of Inzoi goes a bit beyond the one household simulation, because the idea is that you get to control and manage the progression of the entire world these Zoes live in. In fact, you have access to information such as the overall karma level of the city and the behavior of all the inhabitants of the world. But I'll be honest with you, I'm still figuring that one out. Because honey, if you're part of the crowd who struggled with understanding how to play The Sims 4, your first time in Inzoi might be a bit confusing. I'm saying this to warn you that apart from some guide and game tips you can access at any time, the game won't give you any tutorial, any big explanation on what you're exactly supposed to be doing in the game. And look, personally, I was okay with it. I mean, once you get used to the commands to move around and use the game camera, I was feeling comfortable with what was happening with my character. But to be honest, the entire world management thing is still a TBD aspect. At one point, I got a notification that said the karma of the world was running low, and I accessed a panel that let me punish the Zoes who behaved poorly and compliment those who had great karma points. But that was about it. And this isn't really a critique. I enjoy the fact that we get to discover how the game works, and this aspect does make me feel like going back to it to explore more. But I felt it was right to mention it because at times it might feel a bit chaotic or overwhelming if you're expecting a more slow-paced introduction to the game mechanics. In my first hours, my character got a house, met some Zoes, explored the city, dined out, went to a local event, went reading at the library, threw a party, made some friends, and got a boyfriend. No, excuse me, a hot boyfriend, babe.
Daddy, I love him!
And oh boy, did we like to see Lady Drama interact with him in the live stream. We were actually all surprised at the romantic interactions because they looked good and the animations were translating the Zoe's feelings pretty well. Now, why did my Zoe and her boyfriend like each other? I don't really know. I mean, yes, because I made her flirt with him and he responded positively and seemed into her, but what my character thinks and what other characters think is a bit hard to understand sometimes. And that's possibly my biggest question mark about the gameplay so far. There were times when other Zoes were talking to me and a sentence would appear on top of their head, hinting to what they were saying, like, I heard this. Some other times, I would understand what they were talking about by checking my character action queue. But I feel that the animation's time is so short, sometimes I didn't even have time to figure out what was happening, and there were no other visual hints for me to decipher it. Take the party I hosted, for example. At one point, everyone started acting weird, walking like they were zombies and making weird noises. I was hearing some coughing and seeing the words cough, cough, cough on top of some characters' heads. Even my boyfriend was going around holding his belly and looking weird, but when I interacted with him, he always responded positively and smiling. So I really don't know what was going on. Was any of the attendees sick and spread the illness to the other guests? Were the boyfriend and the other Zoes hungry and that's why they were keeping their hands on their bellies? I thought of that as a possibility since the game didn't let me cook any group meal, and so I couldn't serve anything that wasn't a one-person dish, which guests didn't eat anyway. The party ended and I didn't really understand what happened. And I didn't understand if this impacted what other Zois thought of the party either. The game didn't tell me whether they enjoyed the party or not, and the only pop-up that came up during the party had to do with my house being dirty, which made me think that maybe some guests were acting weird because my house was dirty. But we'll never know, I guess. Like I mentioned before, the animations characters perform during social interactions are really cool. They smile in a realistic way, and when they perform romantic actions like hugging or kissing, they look really cool. In other contexts, however, it gets hard to get a reading on what's going on with Zois you're not playing with, and I hope this will improve in the future. It really made me think about how Sims in The Sims 2 act so over the top all the time, but it's also true that if someone doesn't like your sim, or is ill, or is hungry, or is smelly, or needs to sleep, you can tell immediately by their reactions and their thought bubble. Zois are way more restrained with their emotions and their thoughts, so that might leave you a bit puzzled about what's happening during social interactions. And talking about social interactions, I truly hope they fix the conversation menu because it's kind of chaotic in my opinion. There are many options you can pick from, but they barely seem to follow any logic or flow, so the first available topics you get are super random, and although you can sort them by type of interaction, like romantic, funny, small talk, it does take a second to select the secondary menu and see which options you have available. Plus, as I mentioned, the conversational animations are so short, the other Zoi might have walked away by the time you're done choosing. But I did like other aspects of the gameplay too. I hope I'm not sounding like a hater here. I liked dining out and have a chat with the Zoi who was sitting in front of me. I liked walking around the city and moving by underground to be faster. I liked the calendar that showed the available events around town and the food stands that popped up in there. I really liked the little animations my Zoi was making when she was walking around, like fixing her shoe as she was walking and moving her head, showing she was kind of conscious of her surroundings. The traffic lights in the streets are functional, so if there's a red light, your Zoi won't cross the road. I found that detail fascinating, honestly. And I liked seeing her cooking because you can see the ingredients and the steps of the preparation without it taking 3 hours. I also like that every day, according to her mood, my Zoi would get some urges to do certain things, and accomplishing these wishes gave her happiness and money. The currency in the game, by the way, is called meows, and I thought that was really cute. To be fair, I didn't try building anything, so I can't really speak on that, and even if I did, I don't know how reliable my feedback would be, as I'm not an amazing builder, even in The Sims 4. But I liked the items that were available in the buy mode, like you could buy a shower gel and place it almost anywhere you wanted to. I know, that's groundbreaking to me, okay? So, my hot take right after my very first few hours of gameplay is, if you can comfortably afford Inzoi right now and you can't wait to try something different than The Sims in a live sim game, I think you'll still enjoy it because it's a really cool experience overall. But if you're not sure about the price tag and you're okay with waiting a little longer, I suggest waiting at least until the first planned update they'll make in May, or even the one in August that will also bring in a third world map to play in. In my opinion, the game is promising. The graphics are really exceptional, really realistic, just like we expected them to be, but there are some gameplay elements that are still a bit chaotic and some others that are still a bit empty. The shell looks promising, and I think that by the end of the early access period, which should be end of 2025, Inzoi might actually look really good. For now, I don't think they're quite there yet. But honey, I will continue exploring the options we have with the game as it is right now. I'm planning on testing family gameplay and let you know how that goes, so if you're interested, please do join me here at the Drama House by hitting the subscribe button. With new videos and 2 live streams every week, I'll never stop keeping you on the loop with the past, present, and future of live simulation video games. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate you. My name is Lady Drama, and I hope I'll see you very soon.